Simon, fans coming back. So now we know 10,000 spectators permitted initially from May 17. So the final weekend of the season, we're going to see supporters, 10,000 of them, back in stadia all around the country. And that is good news. We look forward to that. It's kind of steady as you go type approach. But I just wonder, Simon, should it lead to a reset of attitudes from people at the top of the club? What would you do if you're still owning a football club in terms of ticket prices, shirt sales? We're going to have superstores opened again. Fans are going to be filing back. They want to get into superstores. They want to buy merchandise. Now, should people at the top of football clubs who make these decisions be mindful of the fact that this has been a reflective period without football fans? So should you cut them a bit of slack and reduce prices in the lights of superstores, in the lights of ticket sales, for welcoming back fans and saying, okay, great to have you back, but here's even better news for you. Reductions here, reductions there. Should they entertain that idea?
Football fans, first of all, I want to be on the side of football fans because ultimately they're the lifeblood of football. They're their heartbeat. They give the football the energy and emotivity. Otherwise, it's a bit vacuous, isn't it? And we all know that. We can all paint the picture of how wonderful it is to see players on the pitch, but we know that the heartbeat of and the atmosphere and the ambience and everything that reverberates around football comes from the atmosphere inside stadiums. So on that hand, you've got to value them. On the other hand, fans are the first ones to be screaming blue murder about how much money you should spend on players, how many players should be bought, how much money transfer windows our clubs are investing in the acquisition of players. So that comes at a price. Politically, if you're being a politically correct person, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole in terms of increasing prices. I wouldn't increase prices. Would I decrease prices? Well, the product is either worth what it's worth or it isn't. If you were happy to pay the price of that product when it was provided for you in normal circumstances or in non-COVID circumstances, why has the product subsequently become devalued? Goodwill.
That's what we're talking.
Well,
goodwill and goodwill alone, Simon.
Well,
I mean, God forbid you increase prices incidentally.
Well, do you know what? We say that, but look what football did with the pay-per-view stuff.
Yeah, but that didn't last long, did it?
But it did it still, didn't it? And then everyone went, are you outside of your mind?
Exactly, that went down like a cup of steak. I mean, they
still
threw
did
that
it
right back in their faces.
But they still did it, and their default setting was it will be stood, and it will be taken, and people will accept it. And of course, there was a background swell about, hang on a second, this is profiteering. But that was an increase in price. You're suggesting that because the product has been lost to the fans who haven't had to pay for it, with the exception of those football clubs that they've chosen to retain their season ticket monies and the fans have accepted that somehow we should reduce the prices.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jim.
Why don't you know?
Because I don't
Fans have been ripped off for years. Paying a lot of money for tickets, paying a lot of money for shirts, and shirts have changed mid-season.
Jim, that's a narrative that makes
Why
a good...
not welcome the fans back with a nice message?
That's a narrative that makes a good soundbite. Look at the average...
No, I'm being serious.
Let me finish. Look at the average ticket price outside of the Arsenals and the Manchester Uniteds and other teams in that division. Look at Everton's average season ticket price, right? Probably about £600, right? So you're talking about £30 a game, right? With due respect, go watch something for 90 minutes anywhere else besides cinemas that aren't open at this moment in time. Or if you want to go to the theatre or go to anything, you're going to be in that territory.
Simon, you're talking about a group of people, supporters around the country who have been denied access to the sport they love.
Not by the sport.
I agree.
The climate. So what you want...
But one word, goodwill. Why not show it?
Sure, and I accept the argument, and I'm not arguing against it. I'm simply saying that is there a reason why you reduce the price of the product? Is the product not worth what they're going to pay for on an individual basis? What's changed?
Maybe it's not at the moment.
Why?
Maybe it's not at the moment.
Why?
Football's changed with supporters away. We all know.
Sure.
We all know that it hasn't been the same without fans.
Hold on. There was an argument at the top end of the when they came back, they were banging in more goals, players were more expressive, that the style of football had gotten better, and that actually we were seeing more on the pitch than we saw when fans were inside stadiums. Now, that argument has dissipated slightly because it's run its course and people have taken their eye off on different things. But I'm trying to find an argument besides goodwill. And, you know, the world doesn't turn on goodwill, Jim. It turns on money.
I know, but this is an unusual time. We've all been saying this for so many months now. Unprecedented times.
If you start
Welcome back, and this is what we're doing for you.
If you start that argument, and I'm not against it, right? But if you start it and say, right, we need to reduce the prices, you'll then have that momentum carried into next season. Have you not read the headlines? I know that there is an argument that suggests that they can afford to pay these players and we should get on with it. But the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions that have been lost out of the football market hasn't been given back by the players who take all the money. So who's going to pay to continue to make football go forward as it stands if this argument is advanced now? Because it won't stop here. It won't be, let's give people an individual game that's got a discounted season price. It'll be next year people suggesting in certain segments of society that football should now be subsidising ticket prices because, A, lots of people have lost their jobs, which of course we empathise with, B, the economy's in the toilet, and C, people haven't been able to go into stadiums.
Just something though, Simon, have a reset. Why not? Merchandise.
But Jim,
show them that there are reductions in the superstore welcoming you back.
And I know you're going to go...
You're not going to entertain this idea,
Well, I am and I'm not. Why isn't there such a great big campaign for resetting the finances in football so players take pay cuts? Because that reset argument was soon flushed down the toilet as quickly as I put it up about 100,000 times.
That's a different argument.
I'm talking about the economics of the game, Jim.
No, Simon, I'm talking about how can fans benefit with the return of football for them?
They get to go inside.
How can fans benefit?
Jim, they get to go back inside a stadium that they haven't been able to go to for 18 months or 15, 16 months, or 25% of the...
A selection of them
25% of the capacity of the stadium, right, up to a maximum of 10,000. Is it 25,000, 25% of the stadium, Luke? Right, so Man United will get 19,000 in, yeah? So 25% of a stadium. So the average stadium in the Premier League is, say, 30,000 fans. You get 7,500 fans back in the average stadium. These people will feel as if it's all their Christmases have come at once. Now, profiteering, no. Retaining the value of the price, yes. Reducing it because it's a goodwill gesture. I would have thought the fact that football has campaigned and fought, and these clubs have bankrolled these players through this period where they've lost 20% of their revenues should be reward enough for the fans.
But never mind the players at the moment. We're talking about the fans. Do you think the fans have been ripped off for long enough?
Well, why do you say...
Yeah, yes or no?
No. Why are you suggesting they're being ripped
80
off?
quid for a shirt, 100 quid for a shirt. Why not welcome them back?
Yeah,
the
Jim,
weekend football comes back for the supporters getting inside stadium.
In certain clubs,
half price.
But also,
for shirts.
I would suggest to you that you probably might find this is a moot argument, because if you've bought a load of shirts that you haven't been able to sell because you haven't had fans inside the stadiums, you're going to be changing those shirts at the end of the year, so you'll be discounting them anyway. So at the end of May, when you've got your stock left over, you will be discounting. So this argument is a moot argument.
I'm seeing you debate this with me here, and you're sitting here with a huge grin in your face. But do you not think... Is it no wonder that fans think that owners periodically can be that bit greedy, and that you're demonstrating that at this moment as an ex-owner?
Let's sit on the other side of the fence, right? Let's make sure that your little mob over at Sky discount their subscription fees for broadcasting for the next 12 months, because their pricing's a bit strong.
Well, this is the kind of thing we're asking,
but it's not.
Simon.
But Jim,
we're putting it out there. I get the pay-per-view thing blew up in everybody's faces.
I get the argument. The argument.
So why not implement it?
Because you're asking for a reduction of ticket prices based upon goodwill for fans that haven't been able to go to stadium, that have been campaigning. We're creating a narrative that isn't there, right? The narrative is fans, we want to get back inside the stadium. We want to get back inside the stadium. We want to get back inside the stadium. Aha! The media says we only go back inside the stadium if we get reduced ticket prices. That isn't out there.
Could they reset it?
What's reset look like?
Reset it. Look, Lord, a fairer price for a ticket. A fairer price for merchandise.
I agree that merchandise is a try-on, certainly for kids' kits. It's a try-on, absolutely always has been, right? But by the same token, if you look at ticket prices, if you're a season ticket holder and you buy a ticket at, say, Palace, and it's 500 quid a year, you're paying £25 a game. If you want to pick and choose your games, I'll tell you what, I'll rock up when we're playing Man United, then you pay the premium for it. Season ticket prices are fair and reflective of the so-called lifeblood of the football club, which is the fans. What you're asking for is a notion that we should be reducing ticket prices for goodwill, when 90% of the fans would say the football clubs have sustained our football clubs through a period where they've lost a significant part of their revenue. That should be good enough. And it's not greedy ownership, because if I tell you what, who's making money?
Yeah.
How's it greedy?
Yeah.
Who's making money?
I noticed at the very start of this debate, you said, no, I wouldn't be interested in increasing prices.
Because I know what football's
Oh,
like.
my God, that wasn't what we were
But
asking
I know
you.
what football's
We're asking
like.
you to decrease prices.
Yeah, but I know what football's like, and you know what it's like. It'll sit there going, we're so important that we'll be able to jack it up a bit. And then people will come along and go, smash. And guys like you and I will sit on the station and go, what is wrong with these people in the Premier League and the EFL? And then it'll all reverse out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they consider that option.
So for the return of fans, I'm going to put it out there. Would you expect some kind of a reset in prices? What about merchandise? A bit of a reduction in that area. What about ticket price? A bit of a reduction, just a bit, to welcome the fans back.